Uh, so are you organizing this, or are you an invitee to this morning?
Well, okay, it's a bit, I am an invitee, but Sachin, who is the organizer, is my partner.
Is your partner? Okay, good.
Yeah, so Sachin and I co-founded the Indonesia Economic Forum.
Yeah.
So, but now, I'm full-time with SMU. So he's kind of running it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I remain a shareholder and founder, but he takes over the day-to-day.
Interesting, bro. Very good.
Yeah. So he's
Uh,
been doing a lot of these things stuff with he works a lot with the Indian embassy, with the Indian business people.
yeah. Is he local or is he Indian or what?
He's Indian, yeah. But
Okay.
he's been in Indonesia for as long as me, about 20 something years.
Amazing, amazing.
Mm.
You still have your house in Bedok or wherever? You used to live there, sort of remember.
Oh, no. In Bedok, no.
Not Bedok. Somewhere near that airport area, I think.
Pasir
No?
Ris. Well,
Pasir Ris.
yeah. Actually, that was my brother's place, but I just bought a flat in Sengkang. So now I'm in Sengkang.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. So I just bought one recently because my daughter has moved back to Singapore after
Okay.
finishing her education.
Hmm.
So I thought it was a good time to buy something,
Very good,
Because
very
all
good.
these years I never bought anything. So
Yeah, tell me
yeah,
about it when I'm in the
now the
same
bloody
situation.
prices are going crazy, man.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous.
So I think that is one of the key challenges this government faces, the rising costs, man. Everybody's
Yeah,
it's just going crazy. It's bonkers.
it is. Wipes you out.
I mean, those who are already property owners, maybe they would all be happy, But the young
Yeah,
people coming in, they just can't afford it,
yeah.
right? So you have to think about the future.
Yep. Hey, how
Yeah.
long are you going to be speaking today, or you're just there to give me moral support?
I'm speaking, so I have to leave a bit earlier. So I'm speaking first, or do you want to go first? Is this
No,
okay?
mine will take about 45 minutes lah. So better,
So I do then maybe I go first if you don't mind.
please do, please do.
Okay, then you go ahead. I'll listen to you for a while. I have to leave by about say 11ish my time.
Yeah. Hey, one thing, they say that they're going to record this thing. I mean, I'm a little uncomfortable with the copyright issues, because since I work for the paper full time and all that,
Yeah.
so uh, I
So you
don't
don't
know.
want, yeah, maybe just tell Sachin. I can tell him you don't want to be quoted, or you
No,
want.
if you're recording this, I mean, that's IP, because basically it's my company. This is stuff I teach my colleagues here, you see. So
I see.
the IP belongs to
Do
SPH.
you?
Just because Sandeep mentioned this, I said I'm happy to help out, and so if you're recording this and if it comes up on a Facebook or something like that, it'll be very uncomfortable for me.
Yeah, then you have to let him know because I think he might want to put it on YouTube. But then,
No, don't. You can't do that.
yeah, then I think I have to tell him he cannot put it on YouTube.
Yeah, he can't. I mean, in the sense that, I mean, if he wants to show it to people who have not been in this session this
Sachin is
morning.
on. Hi, Sachin.
Hi, good morning.
Good
Hi, Shreya.
morning.
Hi, Ravi. How are you?
Hi, morning, Sachin.
Yes.
Yeah, we were just saying, Sachin, that Ravi is saying that you're recording this, right? But
Yeah.
what will you do with the recording?
The recording is only for those students who were not able to join the session today.
So you won't put it on YouTube or public?
Actually, well, originally it is meant to be on YouTube, but if Ravi has a problem, then we can take out his session from this.
That'll be good because you see, the thing is, the IP belongs to my company. Because what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to talk about stuff that it's a program, it's a module I created for my company, which I used to teach my own colleagues, juniors.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't afford to have it out there in a public way at all.
Sure, understand.
No, thanks, Sachin.
Yeah, sure. We'll just do the recording for closed loop, and we won't put it in public space.
I beg pardon?
It won't be in public space. We won't
Perfect.
put. Yeah,
Perfect.
we'll remove for the public space version. We can remove your session, and just have the others.
That'll be good. Thank you.
Okay.
Halo,
Yes.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam,
Hi.
Ibu Dian.
Halo Ibu.
Halo,
Apa kabar Ibu?
Pak So, Pak Sachin, Pak Raffi.
Hi, good morning.
Good
Hai.
morning, Ravi.
Hi. I know that voice.
I was eavesdropping on your conversation.
Pak Sachin, suara
Hi,
saya
Shirley.
bagus nggak?
Bagus
Hello,
Ibu.
good morning.
Bagus,
Good
Ibu.
morning, Ambassador. How are you?
Halo,
Very
Pak
good. Very
Soeb.
good.
Hello, Ibu.
Pak
Pak
Duta,
Raffi di mana? Can you speak with bahasa?
No,
In
Saya-
bahasa?
really.
Saya
I'm not
bisa.
very
Not
good.
really.
No. Although, although I come there so much, I've been to Indonesia 6 times this year already.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'm coming again in October, early October first week. So I really should pick it up. You know, I
At
mean,
least conversational bahasa.
I really enjoy being there. Yeah.
Should we start?
we just usually give it 5 minutes for people to log in.
Okay.
And
But
just-
let me tell you, Ravi, that learning any language at our age is not easy. I've been trying. You know, when you're young, you can pick up languages easily, but at after 50, I think it becomes difficult.
Yeah.
I am trying my best to learn Bhasa, and I try to speak Bhasa, and some other language comes out.
What language comes out? Hindi.
In my case, mostly Spanish comes out because I am a
Spanish?
Spanish speaker.
Oh,
And
wow.
my daughter reminds me, Papa, that's not Bhasa. I said, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very interesting part of the world, and I have been trying to encourage my government um, to have more Bhasa speakers in the service, which
Yeah, it's that they
we are
should do
still stuck in colonial times. We are
exactly.
making people learn French and
Yeah.
some other
More Chinese,
languages, which I
more
don't think are
Bahasa.
relevant anymore.
Yeah. By the way, I appeared on a panel last week with Gurjit Singh, Ambassador Gurjit
Oh.
Singh.
Hmm.
Did he tell you? No, this is about his book. I mean,
About his book, Mango Flavor.
I
Yeah.
mean, ASEAN and India. And
Hmm.
so I said, look, I'm just a storyteller, so I'll tell you a few stories. And then I gasped my way in, gasped my way out of it.
Yeah, he was here also last week, the full week he was here.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
had his book launch even in Jakarta. Hmm.
Okay. So, yeah. Basically, I took the line that even ASEAN doesn't know what ASEAN is. Most ASEAN people, but whatever relationship there has been with ASEAN has been through the bilateral route growing into the multilateral route. So I explained Sika, how Sika convinced others to reach out, like Malaysia then immediately wanted its own Sika. And then I talked about Vajpayee in 2002 announcing open skies in Bali, and then going back and telling the ministry, now that I've announced it, go and get it done. So spun a yarn around it.
Actually, Ravi, you're right. Most people, if you look at a citizen level, they don't understand what ASEAN is and that they're a part of what bloc. They don't get it.
That's right. What is this classroom-like thing in the background, Sachin?
Oh, that's just a, what do you call it?
A screen.
Virtual screen.
Oh, okay. Very convincing.
Yeah. Picked one that looks like it's a office with classrooms in it.
Very convincing. I hope I'll be able to share screen here, huh, Sachin?
Yes. I'll
Thank
just make sure, Dafa, just make sure that Pa Ravi and Ibu Dian and Pa Shoaib are able to share screen.
I don't have a presentation. I'm just going to talk, but I think
Okay.
Ravi and Dian have presentations, so not too many. I think we'll probably kind of do the same thing, but maybe just thoughts of how we write. What is our process of writing,
Sure. Dafa, are you there?
Yes, Pak. Hello,
Yeah.
Sachin. Hello, Mr.
Make sure
Ambassador,
that,
Mr.
yeah,
Fellow, Mr.
the
Shoaib.
share
and
screen
Dian.
enable, yeah, for
Yeah,
Ravi and
of course.
Dian.
Can I just
Sure.
test it once,
Yeah,
Sachin?
yeah, please go ahead.
Wait, share screen, your screen sharing.
Yes, perfect.
You can see it?
Yes, can see your screen.
We are seeing your conversations.
Uh,
Yes.
no. Can you
It's
see
on a
this?
different window.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay, that's good. And you can see myself too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. That's great.
Okay. Yes, I think we can start, yeah. Tafa, go
Yes.
ahead.
Okay, Pak. Hello, good morning, His Excellency Mr. Sandeep Chakravorty, Mr. Ambassador, good morning, Mr. Sachin, good morning, Mr. Velloor, Mr. Shoaib, and Ibu Dian. Good morning. So today on our Voice of Tomorrow session, we are going to talk about feature writing. So why is it important? Because our writing is really want to get to be read. So how to make that interesting, how to make that engaging, that question is going to be answered in this session. So we have three very inspiring speakers, Mr. Ravi Velloor, Mr. Shoeb Kagda, and Ibu Dian Warastuti. Selamat pagi. For the first session, we are going to hear the presentation we are going to hear the talk from Mr. Shoeb Kagda. But first of all, we are going to hear some of the Mr. Shoeb Kagda introduction. So he was started his career as a journalist more than 3 decades. He began as a journalist with the Singapore Business Times in the late 1980. And as the founder and editor-in-chief of Global Asia, Shoaib introduced one of the Indonesia most influential business magazine, widely recognized for its annual rankings such as Indonesia 150 richest people and top 100 company. He also founded Synthesis Indonesia, a media and political consultancy, and also launched Indonesia Economic Forum. And for his recent position, he served as the Center Director of Singapore Management University Overseas Center Jakarta. So good morning, Mr. Shoaib Kagda.
Good morning. Thank you for the introduction.
Good morning, Mr. So without further ado, the time is yours.
Yeah, 1 minute, Dafa. Before we do that, can I ask, Ravi, can you just take your screen share off?
How do I do that now? That is, wait a minute.
Yeah, share and stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we should start actually with an introduction from Ambassador Sandeep, Dafa. So first of all, welcome to everyone here. And we're very happy to have our third edition of the Voices of Tomorrow. And this program is essentially for mentoring young journalists across Indonesia. And it will be held in 2 languages. But of course, we have the AI translation tool here, which helps to translate from one to the other. And we'll get a little introduction about this program from Ambassador Sandeep Chakravorty. Over to you, Ambassador Sandeep. You're on mute. Yes.
Good Zoom practitioner, I always mute myself. I try not to switch off the video. Thank you. Good morning, Sachin. Good morning, Ravi. Good morning, Shoaib. Good morning, Ibu Dian and Dafa and all others who are participating in today's session. This is the third session. And Ravi, as we had discussed before, this is an initiative of India News Desk, which is run by Sachin and the embassy. Basically, reaching out to newsrooms across Indonesia and running a mentorship kind of training program for about 10 weeks, and then having a small contest, and then the winners of which will travel to India for basically building a relationship between news desks and news about India and news about our bilateral relationship. That was the objective. And I must say that whosoever I reached out to participate willingly agreed, including Shoeb and Ravi. And so that's very, very heartwarming. We had an inaugural session where Ambassador of Indonesia to India and our spokesperson, Randhir, had joined in. And then we have had 3 sessions. And today's is on features, I think, with news, instant news, and mobile news, and news on Twitter and Instagram. I think our need for news consumption is met by social media. And I think people open a magazine or a newspaper to read the features, which particularly I do. I don't read a newspaper to get news. I read a newspaper to get more in-depth stories, uh, more analysis, more perspective. And Ravi is a master in that. I sometimes read your articles in Straits Times, but there are some of these institutional newspapers, whether it is New York Times or the New Yorker or some other, even Financial Times. I think their strength, even Economist, of course, their strength is features. They don't give you news. By the time they come out, the news is already old. And people still read them because they put analysis, they put research, they do investigation. And I think this is a art form which is fading away, but I think it is more relevant today than ever before, because in social media you get all the news. Some accident somewhere, some riot somewhere, some political upheaval somewhere, you immediately get the news. You don't wait for the next day. But when you open the newspaper, you look forward to getting more analysis. And that somehow is not happening and in most of the newspapers. And I think it's very important that we have chosen features writing to be part of the curriculum of this program. And none better than these two gentlemen, Shoeb and Ravi and Ibu Dian, to speak to us on that. And I look forward to hearing the elements of feature writing. I know that it means getting into depth, getting into perspective, analysis, context, and making it interesting. And as Ravi was mentioning, he's a storyteller. So I think everyone loves a good story, and I think features are good stories. In fact, I must say that I was having lunch with the Japanese and Australian ambassadors, and I quoted your article about Quad and to them rather, and they verified, they agreed to some of the points that you made, which only appeared in the Straits Times. So a lot of validation of the story I got from them. But again, whether what you put out is true, or whether it is fake, I think it depends on how much you do, how much hard work you do, how much verification of the sources you do, how credible your sources are. And I think that makes papers like Straits Times so respectable, and people look forward to reading it and subscribing to it. I'm sure Shoaib will think of subscribing now to Straits Times. Thank you very much. Lovely to see both of you here. And Ravi, when you come to Jakarta, don't forget that I have a good collection of whiskey. You may drop in by India House. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Over to you,
Ambassador.
Sachin.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think we'll get started right away. And I think Dafa has got the program well, that Shoaib will start with his session, and then followed by Ravi, and then Ibu Dian can continue the session in Bahasa Indonesia. Also with the Q&A session, etc., can be then managed between Dafa and the rest of the team. So wishing all of you a great episode today, and look forward to getting started right now. Thank you. Over to you, Shoaib.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Sandeep, for your good introduction to what is happening today in journalism. Where things are moving on to social media, and us. But I think Ravi and I were still old timers and from the old school, where we believe in the newspaper and writing. I think what Ravi is going to have a presentation, so I won't try and duplicate what he's going to show. But I'm just going to talk a little bit about how I approach writing, and what is what do you call it? my method, right? So basically, feature writing is an extension of news writing. You cannot write a good feature if you do not understand the basics of news writing. And news writing, we have, the intro, the body, the conclusion of an article, right? So basically, feature writing is also that same concept. The only difference between feature writing and news writing is a feature writing has perception. You must provide a perception, and you must also make a point in terms of what is it that you want the reader to leave away with. It's not just about, oh, what happened, but why did it happen and how does it impact the reader? And who is your, so you must have a very deep, good understanding of your audience too. Who is the audience, right? So if you can understand that, then you address your piece or your feature writing to the audience. So basically, feature writing is a bit what I would call a long form of a news article, but it's still based on facts. It is, I think, very important to make this distinction. It is not fiction. It is still a fact. So it must be based on fact. But what you are focusing on is this, like you said, the story and the narrative and why something is happening, or why did it happen and how would it impact the reader. I live in Indonesia. I've been living there for 25 years. Recently there were, there were student demonstrations, rioting. So a feature on that episode, how would you have approached it? How would a good feature writer approach that event, right? The news would have been 5 people killed, bus stops burned, the home of Finance Minister Sri Mulyani ransacked. That's news. But a feature would then go a little bit below that, and to understand why is there anger. Basically, protests are an expression of anger, an expression of frustration, an expression of discontent, right? And why is it happening? And I would then further go a little bit back and say, well, does it tie to certain events in the past? How does it compare with previous such explosions of public anger, right? And lastly, what is it? What would be the direction going forward? So what was achieved by this protest? Was there anything achieved? Did the protesters get the demand, achieve the demands that they put forward? So a feature must go beyond that, right? It must really deep dive and go into the nitty gritty, yes, but also perception. And I think as journalists, of course, we must have our own views, but also having deep interviews and the right interviews is very important. So let's say we were doing a feature on that episode. Who would you have interviewed? I think almost immediately you would interview some of the students and the leaders as to why they're protesting, right? What is it that they're unhappy with? But going beyond, you would also tie that in with social economic conditions in the country, right? If they say, oh, rising costs, well, how do you prove that, right? They're rising costs, right? If they say that, they can't get jobs, well, then you have to do a bit of deep dive into the employment market, So it still must be based on facts, right? But you're providing a bigger picture of a certain situation. So that's basically feature writing. Now, the way I try and approach my approach to feature writing is I start to first paint a picture in my head as to what is the situation, right? And, it's quite graphic in the sense that I try and put all the different elements together in my head. And then I start writing down the points that I want to put forward, right? And then how do I back up these points, right? And then, of course, I go back to some of the news stories over the last few days and read them and understand what's going on, who said what was promised, what was, demanded, what was the damage, right? And then you say, how can I explorate and put a deeper meaning to what happened, right? And that would include, maybe going a little bit beyond just interviewing, but actually doing some research on, the current situation and how does it compare to 5-10 years ago. A lot of, for example, a lot of people painted this episode as the first main challenge for the new president's administration. But is it really? Was it because of him, or did it actually start before that? So again, you got to start connecting the dots in that sense, right? And finally, I would say that a feature writing must also have some emotion in it. So you have to find the right emotion or why things are happening and express that emotion, right? And that, of course, is based on your ability to, relate to what's happening. So a lot of times, journalists, we kind of take a dispassionate view. We are observers of what's happening, right? In a feature, sometimes you may actually want to put yourself in that position to see how these people really feel. What is it that is driving that emotion? And I think that makes a good feature. So that's generally my introduction to feature writing and how I approach feature writing. I'm happy to take questions before Ravi comes on. Yeah, Dafa, if there are questions, I'm happy to take them. You can ask in Bahasa too, no problem.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shoeb. Hello, good morning to all the participants. So we are going to open the question session, Q&A session. So if you have the question, you can write it down on the chat below, and you can use Bahasa as well as English for the question. Thank you. So, Mr. Shoeb, what I heard from your information that you are talk about the feature writing, right? So we cannot put out the facts, right? But so we cannot put out the facts while we write in our point of view or our style of writing. Is that right, Pak?
Well, a feature is still based on facts. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still a news story, but it's a longer form of a news story. So it's still based on facts. So it's not fiction. It means you
Yeah.
cannot imagine something that happened and write a feature, and it's still based on facts. But the difference, of course, is that you want to paint a bigger picture of what is happening, right? So it could be a social event, or it could be about a person, you can relate an event to the experience of an individual, for example, and that makes a good feature. But it's still based on fact, right? The only difference is you want to give the reader an image or perception of perception on why something happened.
Okay.
Not just that it happened, but why did it happen, and what does the impact?
Okay, thank you so much, Pak. So we can add more values for like social values on that writing, right?
Correct.
Okay. So to all the participant, we still open the Q&A session for Mr. Shoeb. We can use Bahasa and also English for this session.
Perhaps you can. I'll still be on the program. If you have questions, you can ask them later, so as to not waste time. If there's no questions, but maybe Mr. Ravi Velloor can start also, and then if needed, I can jump in later if there are questions. But I will have to leave about 11 o'clock my time.
Okay, okay, Mr. Shoeb, we have one question. Let me read it out.
Okay.
So, can you elaborate or give example how we can engage audience using feature news? What kind of opening sentence we can use?
Yes. So there are many ways to do it, right? It can be a question, all right, in the sense that, for example, again, going back to, that story about the recent events in Indonesia, I could start by saying, if I've interviewed somebody, right? Let's say one of the student demonstrations, you could start by saying, why was Arfan killed? Right? I mean, it's a short question, but that is, Arfan was the Ojo, right, who was killed, right?
Yeah.
So why was Arfan killed? You know, that could be the beginning of a feature. In a news story, you would never start like that, right? And then you go into, you know, the events, and then go in, you know, into why was the anger, what caused the anger, right, in the body of the piece, right? So I think a feature must grab attention first, right? So it could be a question, or it could even be something that said, you know, for example, you said, you know, let's say you could start like this. In the recent demonstrations, 10 Indonesians lost their lives, right? The government had to back down. Why was there so much public anger? What caused it? Right? So again, you're asking a question that will get people to think, right? So I mean, different ways to do it. Sometimes you want to go direct, but sometimes, you know, you want to take a slightly longer view of what happened, right? For example, okay, you could start a feature story by saying, like, you know, by starting, over the past 25 years since the fall of Suharto in 1998, Indonesia has experienced many episodes of public demonstrations. Was this one different? You know, again, you bring the reader from a different era back in, right? So that's how you grab the reader's feature. But you must understand the content very deeply to be able to do that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Shoeb. We have
Sure.
another question from Fahri Edu. Can you explain an example of a feature articles that has been made? How to find an angle and delve into the data?
That has been written. Maybe he can have a story that he would like us to look at. I don't know. Does he have an example that he wants us to look at? Because that's quite generic, you know. I mean, thousands of articles are written. What is he referring to?
Oke, mungkin kepada Mbak Fahri dari Detik Edu mungkin boleh dielaborasiin bagaimana bagaimana maksud dari contoh dari sini.
Can you explain an example of a feature article that has been made? How to
Maybe yeah, the way we find an angle, Pak, to tell the story.
Yeah, so an angle, yeah, you know, in news writing and in feature writing, we always say, what's the angle of the story? So the angle basically refers to what is the core? What is the core issue of what you are trying to say, right? You know, so if, let's say, the story is on a social issue or a political issue or an economic issue, then you have to look at what is the core example, what's the angle. So for example, let's say we are writing a piece on you know, recently a lot of news about a shrinking middle class in Indonesia, right? Meaning the middle class is getting smaller rather than bigger, right? You know, now how do you find data for that? Where would you go to find data, right? And to back your point that there's a shrinking middle class. So, you know, you go to, you know, the Bureau of Statistics, you can talk to economists, you can also talk to social scientists, because social scientists, so sometimes you need to like go beyond the immediate, right? You know, I mean, if you go to Bapenas, they will also have data. So you have to look at various data and compare. So that's how you put together a good narrative, right? For example, you know, you can say, I read this many times over the last few months that, you know, Indonesia's middle class has grown smaller, right? From 58 million to 42 million or 45 million. Now, that's an interesting fact. Now, what would you write a feature on that? How would you write a feature on that fact? And how would you explain it, right? to the audience. And why does it matter to the audience? So first of all, you have to define what is a middle class. What is Indonesia's definition of a middle class? And why is it shrinking? Meaning, when they say she's shrinking, means people are going below. Right? So are they earning less, or are they earning the same and the cost of living is rising? Which means they cannot spend as much as before, right? So those is the data points that you need to look at. And then based on the data points, you write your feature article about why this phenomenon is happening and what would be the impact. So who will be impacted? It would impact businesses, certain industries, because consumption is falling. People are spending less. What are they spending less on? Are they spending less on traveling out abroad? Are they spending less on going out to eat? If they're spending less on going out to eat, means restaurants will be impacted. So you have to connect the dots in a feature article. That's the key, right? When you start thinking about a fact, and then you say, okay, where does this lead, and who would be impacted? And then you start collecting data. So you have to be a bit resourceful in terms of where you find the data and who do you talk to. So you talk to the man on the street. Maybe there's a relative, maybe there's a friend who runs a restaurant. Go talk to him. How's your business? Has it really been affected? That is how you start putting together a nice feature. You really have to start connecting the dots and look at where you will find this information.
Okay, thank you so much, Shoeb. So we have two last question, but so based on the Fahri question before, I think we just mentioned like an addition for the Indonesia features. So she thinks about sebuah kegilaan di Pangkraf is a great example of Indonesia feature, and then she add the link for the news that she mentioned.
Okay.
Okay, so we are going to move to the two last question. So this is from Dinda Yatnya Suari from Berita Jateng TV, Pak. So as you emphasize the importance of bringing out emotion in feature writing, how can we ensure that readers connect emotionally with the fact story without losing our grip on facts and slipping into subjective opinion? Thank you.
Yes, that's a very good question, I think. I think it comes with a bit of experience, and while you want to project emotion, it is also important that you don't lose sight of the actual story and the fact that you want to get across, right? So, and in feature writing and in news writing, we don't inject our personal views. That goes into opinion, right? So it's a different genre of news writing. So for example, one of the key facts, one of the key how do you call it, is rules of feature writing or even news writing is you never say I or we in the article, right? Because that's your opinion or you involved, right? So if you start, that's when you get into subjective, right? So if you want to stay away from that, it's always quoting somebody, right? Or, expressing somebody else's emotion, so that you are dispassionate. You have to really stay dispassionate about this. So I think that's how you can express emotion and not be subjective. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Shoeb. And this is the last question from Dana Kencana. So, in terms of text sentence that is impact on the audience, that nowadays people prefer consuming the short information like the social media information from TikTok or Instagram or anything else. Do you have strategy or tips how we make a news feature interesting to the audience?
Yes, yeah. I think today news is consumed in what I call short snippets, right? Nobody wants to read news long. I mean, you don't read a newspaper for news, as the ambassador had said. It comes fast. So I think the strategy and tips to make news features interesting to the audience again is to, I think, find how would you call it? Find the point of what is of the real story, right? So again, if I let's say go back to the recent demonstrations and protests, what was the real story of that episode, right? Was it the demonstrations itself, or was it the anger behind the demonstrations? Because again, it was not just students, right, who came. It was also a lot of working people, a lot of women, right, who were very upset about rising costs. They could not buy groceries for their families, So there was a lot of emotion. But what was the emotion caused by? So the real story of that was rising cost, right? The rising cost of living was the real story. Now, so that is what a good feature writer would be able to do, right? To get beyond the news, behind the news, and to find what was really causing this uproar, So I think that's why that's one of the key things that makes it interesting, and like you say, gives the reader an insight into something, into an event, or into a person. Feature writing can also be about long form interviews with interesting people. So, right. So it can also be, an interview with, for example, a CEO, right, and understanding the CEO's management, leadership, leadership capabilities, or the way he sees things for his company. That can also be a nice feature.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Shoeb. So, is it okay if I add another last question, Pak?
Sure.
Okay, so this is from Mr. Arif Habibi. Like, unlike news, which quickly lose its immediacy, like in this era, features are often read long after the event has passed. What do you see as the key to keeping a feature relevant and resonant with readers, even when the initial momentum has faded?
Yeah, so I think, a feature, I guess, if it's tied to a recent event, it cannot be too far, too far from that event, right? So you cannot write a feature on what happened in late August, early September, 1 year down the road. I mean, unless something happens that ties the two events together, right? So, but if you were to write a feature on a different issue that is kind of more long-term, right? So, like I said, for example, if we go back to the shrinking middle class, why is it happening? Now, that's an interesting feature that is not tied to any specific event, all right? So again, you have to look for something that impacts people, right? Impacts the man on the street, and that's why they would read it, because there's a personal relevance, and that becomes very important in the future. What is the personal relevance to you or to the reader, of that feature? So I think that is one of the key ideas about ways to keep the reader interested in an issue or in a development that may be not, I would say, not tied to a news event.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Shoeb, for the answer of our question here. So what we can see, this is the very interesting topic of knowing and understanding about the feature writing, so it can be more engaging, and then it adds more value in our news writing. Thank you so much, Mr. Shoeb, for your time. Selamat pagi menjelang siang, Ibu Dian.
Pagi menjelang siang, Mas Dava.
Selamat siang. Selamat pagi menjelang siang, Ibu. Apa
Oke,
kabar, Bu?
baik, alhamdulillah.
Oke, jadi
Terima kasih.
sebelum
Mm-mm.
Alhamdulillah. Baik, jadi sebelum kita mendengarkan bagaimana presentasi dari Ibu Dian mengenai feature dari feature writing ini, mungkin saya izin untuk memperkenalkan introduction sedikit ya,
Oh,
Bu.
baik.
Jadi Ibu Dian Warastuti sudah berkecimpung sangat lama, udah lumayan lama dari 1997 di
Oh,
dunia jurnalistik dan di sejumlah media di Indonesia, dan dari 2002 hingga saat ini Ibu Dian Warastuti sudah berlabuh di Harian Waspada untuk kantor biro Jakarta ya Bu. Dan Ibu Dian ini merupakan pribadi yang sangat aktif untuk memberitakan pergerakan era reformasi di tahun 1998, dan kini juga banyak bergelut dengan pemberitaan seputar pendidikan, kesehatan, isu gender, kependudukan, dan sosial media. Ibu Dian, mungkin kepada Ibu Dian dipersilakan.
oke. Baik, terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi menjelang siang semuanya. Teman-teman, ada juga ini Pak pembicara sebelumnya, Pak Shoeb dan Pak Rafi. Saya sudah mendengarkan semuanya, Mas Dafa, dan banyak sekali saya juga lagi belajar juga. Sampai sekarang saya masih tetap belajar gitu, dan saya sebenarnya sudah mempersiapkan juga beberapa ada paparan ya, Mas Davi ya, sudah terima ya. Mas Dafa, sorry, Mas Dafa udah
Iya
terima
betul,
ya.
Bu. Sudah, sudah.
Maaf, maaf. Iya, itu nanti mungkin setelah saya bisa bilang oke, baru nanti. Oke, nah ini dia judulnya aja dulu deh, Mas Dafa. Menurut saya ya, saya sebelumnya saya mau perkenalkan lebih lanjut. Kalau saya di saat ini lebih banyak bergelut ya, tadi Mas Dafa bilang di bidang yang mungkin agak sedikit menjauh dari bidang politik dan ini ya kriminal gitu. Saya lebih kepada masalah-masalah kesejahteraan rakyat, dan itu saya lebih atensi ke situ gitu. Nah itu makanya mengapa saya beri judul feature menyentuh dan berdampak. Karena menurut saya seorang penulis feature itu ya seperti yang tadi dibilang Pak Shoeb dan Pak Raffi, bahwasannya harus punya keinginan gitu untuk menyentuh hati pembaca, dan nanti ujung-ujungnya adalah memberikan dampak dari tulisan kita itu gitu. Nah, itu makanya saya kasih judul seperti ini gitu. Oke, boleh next Mas Dava. Oke, ini teman-teman sudah pada tahu ya, kita semua paham lah ya bagaimana tadi di dua pembicara sebelumnya juga sudah menyatakan bagaimana teori tentang apa yang dimaksud dengan tulisan picture, bahwa itu harus storytelling, yang paling penting adalah bagaimana pemberitaan itu bisa mengalir gitu. Tulisan kita tuh bisa mengalir sampai kepada pembaca kita dengan smooth gitu ya. Nah, next Mas. Oke. Ini dia sumber tulisan feature ya. Kalau saya pribadi seperti yang dituliskan di sini ya, sumber-sumbernya itu bisa dari seperti Pak Raffi juga bilang tadi, ada dari berita yang ada masalah-masalah yang sedang aktual ya kan, bahkan saat ini gitu terkait dengan media sosial gitu kan, bagaimana media juga akhirnya harus melakukan analisis lebih lanjut gitu ya, follow up gitu tentang apa yang lagi rame di media sosial, terutama juga terkait dengan apa yang terjadi dengan anak-anak muda kita saat ini, dengan bagaimana mereka lebih merespon media sosial ketimbang media mainstream gitu. Nah itu bisa jadi justru bisa jadi latar belakang penulisan kita selanjutnya gitu, untuk membuat sebuah picture, mungkin gagasan untuk membuat sebuah picture tulisan yang berdampak. Oke, bagaimana? Ya susah menulis feature, jelas. Menulis feature lebih susah ketimbang menulis berita. Biasa saya rasa ini teman-teman wartawan di sini saya lihat ada beberapa wartawan senior ya. Jadi menulis feature memang lebih susah. Itu dulu bahkan saya pernah ingat dosen saya itu dulu pernah bilang kalau pembaca yang membuat feature itu bikin penulisnya itu pusing gitu, tapi pembacanya itu enjoy. Tapi kalau kita memberikan berita news straight news kepada pembaca, pembacanya yang pusing. Penulisnya mungkin asik aja gitu kan karena dia cuma memberikan data-data yang ada. Tapi menulis feature dengan tingkat kesulitannya lebih tinggi ketimbang menulis berita. Tapi itu adalah menurut saya sih itu adalah hak pembaca gitu untuk mendapatkan tulisan yang lebih gitu dari seorang khususnya seorang jurnalis ya karena saya seorang jurnalis.
Mohon maaf Ibu Dian. Mohon maaf teman-teman. Mungkin Ibu Dian sedang terkendala jaringan yang sedang terputus. Mungkin kita bisa tunggu sebentar sehingga Ibu Dian bisa masuk kembali untuk mempresentasikan presentasi tentang features ini. Namun diingatkan juga kepada
Maaf
teman-teman.
lepas.
Oh iya baik Bu, udah kembali. Baik
Oke
Bu.
Mas lanjut. Oke, ini struktur penulisan feature ya. Saya cuma mau garis bawahi bahwa buat saya menulis feature itu yang paling susah itu cari judulnya. Menurut saya sih nggak tahu ya pengalaman saya gitu ya. Menulis feature itu yang paling susah adalah menulis judulnya. Bagaimana karena judul adalah kepalanya ya, kepala berita dan itu menunjukkan sering memang harus menunjukkan isi dari dari tulisan kita ya. Lanjutnya lead. Nah, ini lead juga menurut saya di sini nanti akan terkait dengan paparan saya selanjutnya terkait dengan tips ya. Mungkin lead di sini ini yang paling juga sulit juga karena mencari lead itu kayak orang mau cari ilham gitu ya. Kita kayaknya harus duduk berapa lama atau mungkin mesti ke belakang dulu gitu kan. Jadi menulis lead ini kalau udah ibaratnya kalau udah dapat leadnya itu udah gampang gitu. Nulis selanjutnya itu udah gampang gitu. Tapi leadnya ini, nah dalam seringkali kalau saya pribadi menulis feature itu dulu dan sampai sekarang masih dalam menulis lead berita apa feature ini saya pakai intuisi gitu. Jadi semacam penggambaran, deskripsi penggambaran kondisi yang terjadi di lapangan. Bagaimana misalnya saya
Baik, mungkin Ibu Dian sedang terputus kembali dan diingatkan untuk teman-teman untuk bisa menuliskan pertanyaan-pertanyaan yang dapat dijawab sama Ibu Dian setelah presentasi ini.
Oke, maaf lepas lagi.
Tidak apa-apa.
Oke, jadi dalam menuliskan lead, saya lebih banyak memakai intuisi saya, menggambarkan, meliput langsung ke lapangan, mendapatkan suasananya dan menggambarkan suasana yang terjadi gitu. Jadi disitulah saya bisa mendapatkan lead yang bagus. Nah, selanjutnya apa ini? Oke, jembatan itu juga penting, isinya dan terakhir adalah penutup. Nah, ini penutup ending juga agak semacam kayak inilah yang disebut nanti feature itu berdampak ya karena penutup atau endingnya ini adalah berisi ajakan. Next Mas. Ini oke. Mengapa feature penting? Ini dia. Saya bisa menyimpulkan bahwa feature penting itu semuanya kepada pembaca. Pembaca berhak mendapatkan tulisan feature kita. gitu, karena selama pembaca itu sudah diberikan berita-berita yang straight gitu, berita-berita yang mungkin agak pusing, membuat mereka stres gitu ya dengan berita-berita kita yang kita jajalin berita ini berita itu. Tapi begitu membaca feature, mereka menjadi lebih kayak semacam healing kecil-kecilan ya dengan membaca feature kita gitu. Nah, ini menurut saya ini penting, kembali ke pembacanya penting, terkait dengan nanti di situ di feature itu ada masukan-masukan dari bisnis kah atau apa, itu lain soal ya. Tapi most of all gitu ya, yang paling penting adalah feature ini penting sebagai hak pembaca. Itu next Mas. Oke, nah ini dia langkah menulis feature. Saya seringkali ketika menulis feature itu, saya diberi tugas, misalnya saya pernah diberi tugas untuk menulis ulang tahun bos saya Pak Tribuana Said. Bagaimana coba? Beliau ulang tahun yang sudah menjelang 80 tahun dan saya harus menghadapi bos saya, Pak Tribuana Said, di ulang tahunnya yang ke hampir 80 tahun. Apa yang saya lakukan? Saya malam itu saya tidak bisa tidur karena saya harus berhadapan dengan bos saya dan bagaimana saya harus menulis dia, kalau enggak saya bisa dipecat ya kan. Jadi bagaimana saya harus menulis dia. Nah, itu langkah-langkah menulis feature itu dari awal. Begitu assignment itu diserahkan kepada kita, nah saat itulah kita berjibaku gitu ya untuk mempersiapkan langkah ini bisa.
Mohon maaf teman-teman, sepertinya terputus kembali. Juga diingatkan kepada teman-teman untuk mengisi link absennya yang sudah dicantumkan di kolom chat ya teman-teman.
Jadi itulah begitu kita sudah persiapkan semuanya, langkah-langkah menulis feature sudah dipersiapkan. Selanjutnya Mas, itu ada, ini ini dia. Jadi sudah kita persiapkan mental kita, jiwa kita, raga kita gitu ya, jangan sampai pas lagi mau wawancara sakit ya kan, flu gitu kan, nanti menularin narasumber kayak gitu. Dan mental yang terutama penting. Saya menganggap yang paling penting daripada persiapan kita untuk menulis feature adalah mental gitu. Selain pertanyaan dan sebelumnya adalah komunikasi ya. Jadi komunikasi dulu dengan halo Pak, saya besok akan melalui, seperti itulah. Dan ada juga misalnya kita siapkan ini recorder. Zaman dulu ya masih ada disiapkan alat rekam, disiapkan, kita bawa juga buku dan pensil, atau mungkin sekarang teman-teman sudah pakai HP ya, nggak pakai pensil lagi, nggak pakai pulpen lagi, buku lagi. Tapi yang lebih penting adalah mental. Buat saya, karena kesulitan menulis feature ini terkait juga dengan kesulitan cara mendapatkannya. Selain riset ya, kita pahami dulu siapa yang akan kita hadapi, apa yang akan kita hadapi. Itu juga membuat tantangan penulisan feature, langkah-langkah menulis feature ini lumayan menantang gitu. Kalau saya nggak bisa bilang berat ya, karena ini sebenarnya menarik gitu. Nah, jadi disitulah jadi mental dan panca indera kita semua harus dimanfaatkan dengan baik. Karena seringkali begini, kita sudah mempersiapkan peralatan, mental kita udah siap, tapi kita lupa bahwa di lapangan, di saat kita wawancara atau saat kita meraih data gitu, mengumpulkan data di lapangan gitu, itu kadang-kadang terjadi sesuatu yang unpredictable, nggak bisa kita perhitungkan, tidak kita perkirakan. Misalnya waktu itu saya pernah wawancara seorang untuk penulisan feature seorang perempuan usia 80 tahun, pengusaha, dan saya udah siapkan semua pertanyaan rapi gitu kan. Nah, bahkan pertanyaan terbuka yang artinya dia akan memancing tanggapan dia selanjutnya gitu. Tapi begitu saya melihat dia naik tangga umur 80-an tahun dan dia naik tangga gesit. Saat itu juga saya merubah pandangan saya terhadap alur penulisan saya kelak gitu. Jadi waktu saya lihat dia naik tangga dengan gagah dan turun lagi ke bawah menghadapi kami semua wartawan dengan gagah, saat itu juga saya merubah alur tulisan saya gitu. Jadi saya akan tulis tentang ibu ini yang naik tangga dengan gagah. Artinya apa? Di usianya yang segitu, yang seumur itu dia masih hebat bisa naik tangga tanpa lift gitu, naik tangga. Dan akhirnya dari pengamatan saya yang tiba-tiba itu jadilah sebuah penulisan yang menarik, meskipun mungkin tidak penting gitu, tapi ternyata penting. Jadi sesuatu yang tidak penting pun yang cuma sekilas kita lihat itu bahkan bisa jadi sesuatu yang menarik gitu. Nah itu
Mohon maaf teman-teman, seperti kembali terputus. Apakah sudah?
iya nih kayaknya sinyal internet. Oke, nah pengalaman saya mungkin akan lebih sharing aja ya karena saya sudah mendapat banyak masukan, teman-teman juga sudah mendapat masukan banyak dari pembicara sebelum. Jadi pernah juga suatu ketika saya kembali wawancara seorang tokoh ya gitu, dan saya sudah membulatkan tekad saya tidak akan menulis. Maksudnya saya tidak akan melakukan liputan seperti wartawan biasa yang pakai membawa catatan, menulis dan wawancara seperti seorang yang kesannya menginterogasi. Enggak. Jadi saya udah niat dari rumah, saya akan menulis gaya saya seperti ini. Jadi saya datang ke rumahnya beliau di Dharma Wangsa. Begitu saya lihat masuk ke rumahnya, saya udah langsung jadi tulisan. Jadi dia tinggal di mana, bagaimana lingkungan tempat dia tinggal itu udah langsung saya jadikan bahan untuk penulisan feature saya tentang tokoh ini gitu. Nah ini saya waktu itu dapat tugas menulis feature tentang tokoh Ibu Herawati Diah waktu itu. Dia ulang tahun ke-95. Saya datang ke rumahnya langsung di Dharma Wangsa dan saya tidak membawa apapun bahkan rekaman karena saya anggap ini bukan peliputan yang politik atau apa gitu. Jadi saya tidak merasa perlu untuk merekam omongan dia. Saya mau menulis tentang ibu hari ini. Tentang ibu saat ini di usia 95 tahun. Nanti saya akan punya latar belakang dia dari internet. Saya udah seperti itu mendesainnya gitu. Jadi saya cuma lihat ibu itu bergerak dari keluar ruangan, dia membawa tongkat seperti kayak buat dia berjalan, alat bantu jalan, dan dia duduk di meja, ruangan saya perhatikan, apa yang ada di meja dia saya lihat, di meja tamu itu dia saya perhatikan, dan pembicaraan dia yang pelan-pelan itu saya perhatikan. Jadi karena saya merasa umur 95 tahun, so pasti dia tidak akan banyak bicara. So apa yang harus saya ketik dan segala macam. Jadi lebih daripada itu saya ingin ibu merasa nyaman dengan saya yang tidak membawa apa-apa dan saya yang ya seperti itu. Jadi pengalaman saya intinya saya Mas Dava lanjut terakhir sampai ke intuisi Mas yang terakhir. Next.
Baik, Bu.
Intuisi terus itu
Masih.
udah masuk. Next lagi. No. Sebelumnya back. No. Back.
Masih sebelumnya, Bu?
Next, berarti nah ini
Ya.
dia. Intuisi. Nah, ini bisa teman-teman mungkin yang udah sering nulis feature juga udah tahu lah bahwa ini intuisi kita yang berperan dalam setiap kita menulis feature, karena wartawan itu kan manusia ya, yang masing-masing punya pemikiran tersendiri, punya perasaan tersendiri, dan punya intuisi yang bisa digali untuk menulis sebuah tulisan yang menyentuh dan mungkin nanti akan berdampak gitu. Jadi intuisi ini bisa next Mas, intuisi bisa membuat kita mampu melihat apa yang akan kita tawarkan kepada pembaca kita. Ini kira-kira ini yang bagus. Seperti begitu kita wawancara dengan seseorang atau kita melihat sebuah suasana, misalnya melihat aksi korban kekerasan, perempuan yang menjadi korban kekerasan, waktu kita wawancara dia mukanya babak belur gitu misalnya, apa yang harus kita tulis tentang dia gitu. Nah itu intuisi yang bermain di situ. Jadi saya pernah juga menulis korban kekerasan rumah tangga, saya lihat dia terluka gitu ya, ada sampai dia cacat, dan saya gambarkan gitu, bahwa gambarkan, dan itu intuisi yang bermain. Jadi bagaimana kita sebagai penulis itu bisa menangkap berempati gitu. Dan ya, penulisan feature ini lebih kepada empati sebenarnya. Jadi bagaimana kita empati kepada perempuan korban KDRT itu, dan kita tangkap kesedihan dia. Tapi kalau saya sih, alih-alih dalam banyak tulisan saya, alih-alih itu saya lebih menangkap sebuah aspek positivisme dalam menangkap kesedihan sekalipun gitu. Jadi bagaimana memang saya ambil dari penggambaran deskripsi tentang kesedihan, tentang kondisi ibu itu yang mendapatkan kekerasan, tapi lebih daripada itu di belakang isi dan pesan nanti di belakang itu kesimpulan itu saya tangkap sebagai sebuah saya mengarahkan kepada sebuah ajakan untuk tidak seperti itu, bahwa stereotip tentang perempuan yang menjadi subordinat misalnya seperti itu. Nah, saya balik lagi, ini dia next Mas, terakhir, yang bukan terakhir, yang apa yang diharapkan dari sebuah penulisan feature. Nah, ini dia. Cuma ini aja sih. Apa yang paling diharapkan dari sebuah penulisan feature adalah dampaknya. Seperti yang tadi Pak Raffi bilang juga, semuanya itu bahkan hal yang tidak penting pun bisa diangkat oleh kita sebagai penulis feature menjadi sesuatu tulisan yang berdampak gitu. Ya bisa seperti tadi saya bilang, Ibu Herawati misalnya, ternyata dia sampai seumur itu masih bermain bridge. Saya tuliskan itu. Ibu yang umur 80 tahun, seorang pengusaha, tokoh perempuan, pengusaha perempuan yang umur 80 masih bisa naik tangga dan turun tangga. Itu hal kecil tapi berdampak. Menurut saya gini, dampaknya ya bagaimana dia masih menjaga kesehatan, bagaimana dia masih menjaga pikiran supaya nggak pikun. Itu tulisan hal-hal kecil yang mungkin berdampak bagi banyak orang. Itu sih Mas Dapa. Jadi seperti itu, mungkin ada pertanyaan.
Baik, terima kasih Bu Dian untuk pemaparan mengenai hal-hal teknisnya ya, bagaimana kita menulis feature ini. Mungkin di sini ada beberapa pertanyaan Bu mengenai bagaimana dari teman-teman. Mungkin saya izin membacakan ya Bu. Sebagai jurnalis senior di Harian Waspada, apa tantangan terbesar dan peluang terbaik dalam mengembangkan feature yang kuat dan mendalam, terutama di tengah persaingan dengan media nasional dan digital?
Good question. Pertanyaan yang bagus. Mbak, siapa nih, Man? Mbak atau Mas yang nanya nih?
Tadi itu dari, bentar ya Bu, dari Ade Aprilia.
Oke, ya Mas atau Mbak ya. Adek ya, kayaknya perempuan ya. Pertanyaan bagus Mbak. Jadi seperti yang saya bilang, media itu memberikan banyak hal kepada pembaca. Nggak cuma berita-berita singkat gitu ya. Highlight news, nggak cuma itu. Meskipun kita didera dengan keharusan untuk melakukan konvergensi media gitu ya, tapi tulisan feature ini saya yakin akan memberikan apa namanya, kayak semacam nanti kalau kita berikan kepada pembaca itu akan memberikan feedback kepada kita tuh berupa banyak yang membaca lah kasarnya gitu. Jadi penting gitu sebenarnya feature itu untuk untuk mengangkat kembali eksistensi media, bagaimana media itu juga sebenarnya punya fungsi untuk mengedukasi, untuk memberi hak pembaca untuk mendapatkan tulisan yang bagus gitu. Dan saya yakin masa depan media massa, khususnya media massa itu bisa kembali dengan kita bisa menulis sesuatu yang di belakang itu, di balik itu semua gitu. Seperti why kita aspek kenapa begitunya itu kita kedepankan, dan itu saya yakin itu akan bisa memberi memberi efek yang sangat baik kepada media itu sendiri gitu. Kira-kira gitu, Mas.
Baik, terima kasih Ibu. Mungkin juga ada pertanyaan. Saya izin membacakan pertanyaan selanjutnya dari Ibu Yuni Naibaho. Jadi dalam penulisan yang dituliskan oleh Ibu Yuni dan berdasarkan pemaparan dari Ibu, selain judul juga sering tertantang menemukan sudut pandang atau angle yang unik tentang untuk feature ini. Tentang terkadang merasa karena penguasaan tata bahasa yang kurang sehingga menemukan angle yang menarik itu agak sulit. Bagaimana tips agar penentuan angle itu bisa lebih menarik?
Oke, Ibu Hajah Yuni ini ya kolega saya ini Mas Dapa. Ini wartawan senior ini. Jadi terima kasih ya Kak Yuni. Kak Yuni, apa yang Anda pertanyakan hari ini, saat ini juga masih menjadi pelajaran buat saya. Sampai saat ini saya juga masih mengalami hal itu, Mas Dava dan teman-teman. Jadi memang itu justru lah kesulitan yang kita anggap kesulitan justru kita jadikan tantangan. Misalnya Mbak Yuni bilang saya kurang angle yang menarik, bagaimana melalui sebuah angle. Saya seperti yang saya bilang di atas, memang mencari angle itu seperti mencari harus harus mencari ilham, seperti mencari ilham gitu ya. Kita harus ke kamar mandi dulu mungkin gitu kan, harus mungkin kalau yang senang ngemil dulu gitu kan. Nah, atau sambil nonton satu episode drakor misalnya gitu ya, kayak gitu. Jadi kayak sesuatu yang memang nggak gampang tapi itu menarik gitu, dan kita akan melalui hal-hal itu terus. Jadi menurut saya Mbak Yuni, tipsnya itu sering-sering kita baca picture orang, sering-sering kita membaca picture orang gitu. Sampai sekarang saya sering membaca tulisan orang, dan saya terakhir saya juga baca picture-nya di Waspada itu teman kita Mbak Yudi, dan itu keren menurut saya. Jadi dan pasti karena kita media nasional yang berada di daerah gitu loh, bagaimana tangkapan-tangkapan lokal kita itu Mbak Yuni itu bisa jadi angle yang menarik, karena gini, nggak semua sekarang ini kan sudah internet ya, jadi sudah global gitu. Apa yang kita tuliskan di Medan misalnya itu akan bisa dibaca orang di mana-mana kan gitu, jadi nggak ada masalah. Jadi semua yang Mbak Yuni dan yang kita anggap penting di daerah kita itu juga mungkin penting di daerah lain. Bagaimana misalnya kemarin ada ledakan di Pamulang ya, itu Pamulang kondisinya tidak jauh dari rumah saya gitu. Jadi itu bagaimana ledakan itu ternyata masih simpang siur, itu dibaca juga oleh di tempat lain. Terus bagaimana waktu itu bom tahun berapa saya nulis bom itu? Saya bom di gang yang tempat saya biasa lewat. Saya bilang ini Pamulang ini jadi terkenal gitu sedunia gara-gara di situ ada bom yang tahun berapa saya lupa ya. Oh, artinya lead itu kita bisa ambil juga dari misalnya angle kita itu Bu Hajah, angle kita tuh bisa kita ambil dari intuisi kita tadi. Jadi kira-kira kalau kita misalnya tadi yang saya bilang kita ketemu sama ibu yang naik turun tangga misalnya, itu bisa jadi angle kita gitu loh. Jadi kita gambarkan saja bagaimana kita akan menggambarkan itu, dan itu akan menjadi lead kita gitu. Jadi kita akan menggambarkan bagaimana ibu itu pertama kita ketemu dia, deskripsikan bahwa dia tuh naik turun tangga, dan kita aja gitu. Kadang orang muda males maunya cari lead gitu, misalnya seperti itu. Itu sih.
Baik, terima kasih Bu Dian untuk jawabannya. Juga mungkin kita ada dua pertanyaan lagi Bu untuk yang jadi untuk terkait isu-isu kesra yang biasanya diketahui dan dirasakan oleh
Iya.
masyarakat luas ini dari Bu Wibi dari Bisnis Indonesia. Bagaimana
Mas Widi.
Dari Mbak Subi, bagaimana tips untuk mengelaborasi masalah-masalah kesra tetapi tetap enak dan menarik untuk dibaca dalam bentuk feature?
Baik, wah ini banyak Mas Bibi. Saya rasa Mas Bibi ini banyak banget ya isu-isu kasraya yang bisa kita. Karena orang sekarang lagi larinya banyak yang memang more important lebih menarik itu juga memang menarik banget itu ya kondisi sosial politik kita saat ini ya Mas Bibi ya. Tapi saya juga punya concern. Kita juga harus punya concern terhadap sesuatu yang tidak dalam tanda kutip tidak dilirik orang terkait masalah keserahan misalnya. Tapi bukankah nanti dari hal-hal yang misalnya sekolah rakyat ya misalnya gitu masalah keserahan sekolah rakyat MBG misalnya ya itu kan banyak banyak hal-hal yang bisa kita ambil menjadi tulisan-tulisan kita yang bagus ya Mas. Bagaimana sekolah rakyat? Apakah sekolah rakyat misalnya behind di balik itu penerima manfaatnya itu kan banyak orang-orang yang apakah bisa kita gali dari situ, bisa kita gali dari program-program kesejahteraan rakyat yang mungkin isunya banyak tertutup oleh peristiwa-peristiwa politik belakangan ini gitu, Mas Wibi. Jadi saya yakin sebagai orang yang concern saat ini menulis kesejahteraan rakyat, saya yakin masih banyak jurnalis yang punya atensi di situ dan saya melihat banyak wartawan-wartawan kesra di lapangan itu, wartawan-wartawan muda itu dan mereka memang ditugaskan khusus oleh tim redaksinya untuk benar-benar meng-highlight gitu. Untuk tidak istilah dalam tanda kutip lagi tidak kalah saing dengan berita-berita politik gitu. Jadi kadang-kadang berita yang tidak penting pun dari misalnya masalah makanan bergizi gratis, bagaimana berita yang mungkin jurnalis kasih sayang gitu ya. Jadi bagaimana di balik itu bahwa program itu memang mungkin misalnya membantu orang yang memang benar-benar nggak bisa makan di sekolah, tidak mendapatkan uang jajan, misalnya anak-anak seperti itu, atau mungkin sekolah rakyat benar-benar tidak bisa sekolah kalau tidak ada program itu, misalnya gitu, gitu sih.
Oke, baik. Terima kasih, Bu Dian. Mungkin ini pertanyaan terakhir, Bu. Eh, dari Ibu Asih Astuti dan juga mungkin nanti bisa dikolaborasiin sama dari Nikmatul Faizah. Jadi dari Ibu Asih Astuti bertanya tentang hal yang paling sulit dalam menuliskan feature adalah menemukan ide. Bagaimana pengalaman Bu Dian dalam menemukan ide-ide dan bagaimana Ibu Dian untuk memperkaya khazanah dan bagaimana Ibu untuk bisa menemukan itu. Dan juga mungkin disambungkan dengan pertanyaan dari Nikmatul Faizah, dalam rangka memperluas wawasan itu ada nggak Bu untuk rekomendasi buku atau novel atau artikel yang mungkin bisa memperluas khazanah dari gaya penulisan feature ini?
Oke, tadi tentang bagaimana yang pertama tadi tentang apa Mas Dafa menggali
Idenya, Bu,
ide. Ya tadi yang saya bilang, Mbak,
dari Bu Asih.
ide itu kadang datang dari saat kita wawancara. Percaya nggak? Jadi gini, kita udah siap nih. Kita mau malam nih kita wawancara orang penting misalnya, atau sebuah peristiwa penting misalnya. Misalnya waktu itu saya pernah tahun 96 itu saya pernah menghadiri Rendra membaca puisi Hairil Anwar. Saya blank asli. Maksud saya gini, saya cuma mau datang melihat langsung Pak Rendra membaca puisinya Hairil Anwar. Saya yakin saat itu nanti saya belum punya ide apa yang akan saya tulis. Belum punya ide sama sekali. Jadi ide kadang kita dapat itu dari saat kita wawancara. Pun waktu saya mau wawancara ibu yang berusia 80 tahun, seorang pengusaha, saya blank. Saya mau nulis apa tentang ibu ini? Saya udah bilang, makanya waktu kita langsung terjun ke lapangan, panca indera kita itu, mata, pikiran, penciuman kita itu harus selalu berperan. Jadi misalnya kita lagi datang wawancara feature tentang warung Tegal atau yang sekarang tuh kan warkop lagi berjamuran ya, misalnya kita cium ini aroma apa makanannya enak ya. Itu bisa jadi ide tulisan, Mbak. Bagaimana makanan yang ini makanan itu enak banget ini baunya. Ini senang ini kayaknya wangi begini pasti masakannya enak. Oke. Ini ternyata makanan ini memang banyak Bu dicari orang dan banyak di sini paling laku. Dari situ ide mengalir. Jadi bagaimana mata kita melihat seorang ibu yang sudah sepuh gitu masih bisa naik turun tangga, itu jadi ide penulisan, Mbak. Terus bagaimana seorang ibu Herawati dia di usianya yang ke-95 tahun dia masih bermain bridge, masih bermain kartu dan untuk mencegah pikun. Asli saya malam itu waktu mau wawancara tokoh, terutama tokoh-tokoh penting ya, itu saya tidak punya ide. Maksud saya gini, pokoknya saya kenali dulu tokoh saya, kenali dulu siapa yang mau saya wawancara, kenali dulu orang itu. Saya punya riset terbatas dulu ya, memang saya punya riset. Karena apa yang terjadi di lapangan, apa yang kita saat kita wawancara, saat itulah ide timbul. Percaya sama saya, Mbak. Kadang tidak ada ide di malam itu. Jadi kita yang penting Mbak siap juga dengan semua rasa, dengan semua panca indera Mbak untuk melakukan penelusuran langsung di lapangan. Karena kalau tanpa melihat langsung ke lapangan, ini agak susah gitu mendapatkan feel-nya itu, ambience gitu, mendapatkan rasa dari sebuah tulisan. Ya, itu Mas. Sama tadi apa tadi itu?
Rekomendasi.
Soal apa namanya rekomendasi tulisan-tulisan ya Mbak, apa Mas ya atau Mbak ya? Saya tuh paling senang baca novel, baca autobiografi orang dari kecil gitu. Meskipun sekarang udah mulai jarang baca ya, tapi itulah ya dan rekomendasi saya Mbak sering-sering baca tulisan-tulisan penulis-penulis hebat ya, termasuk tulisan Pak Raffi mungkin ya, Pak Shoeb gitu ya. Jadi harus kita sering baca teman-teman kita yang dari media-media lain yang tulisan yang kira-kira menarik gitu. Sampai saat ini saya bilang dari awal saya masih belajar juga. Jadi saya masih membaca tulisan teman-teman media, teman-teman kayak misalnya Pak Dahlan Iskan itu saya juga rajin baca tulisannya ya. Jadi tulisan teman-teman saya bahkan tulisannya Mbak Yuni Naibaho itu saya baca juga. Beliau ini Mbak Yuni ini sering nulis feature juga terutama waktu dia di Arab Saudi ya jadi tugas haji ya. Jadi saya baca tulisan-tulisan teman-teman saya sendiri, saya baca penulis-penulis feature yang hebat-hebat gitu. Dan Mbak kalau bisa sempat ada waktu baca novel atau baca cerpen itu baca lama. Itu karena kosakata itu banyak terdapat dari situ. Itu sih.
Baik, terima kasih Ibu Dian untuk jawaban atas pertanyaan yang telah diberikan. Mungkin Bu Dian boleh izin apabila diperbolehkan untuk saya tampilkan email karena sepertinya masih ada teman-teman yang ingin bertanya
Boleh, boleh.
terkait. Oke, baik, terima kasih Ibu Dian. Mungkin
Oke.
nanti dari teman-teman India News Desk mungkin akan diakomodir untuk menuliskan email dari Ibu Dian juga di
Baik, baik, baik. Boleh, boleh.
komen. Oke, baik, terima kasih Ibu Dian. Eh,
Udah
dan
lewat waktunya.
diingatkan juga kepada para peserta untuk mengisi link absen di sini. Thank you so much, Mr. Velloor, for your time and for your
No,
insightful
happy to be
presentation
here.
here.
Thanks very much. All right. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Velloor. Bye.
Thank you.
Terima kasih banyak Ibu Dian untuk kesempatan udah bisa berbagi di sini dan juga untuk udah bisa bertanya kepada teman, menjawab pertanyaan di sini. Terima kasih banyak Ibu Dian, dikembalikan kepada Bapak Sachin.
Ya. Terima kasih Dava dan Ibu Dian, sangat menarik itu sesinya. Kami inginkan mungkin kalau ada sesi-sesi berikutnya Ibu bisa ikut juga lagi. Kita mungkin ada function ya di embassy. Setelah ini semuanya selesai, kami pasti undang Ibu Dian untuk ikut juga. Terima kasih dan teman-teman juga terima kasih untuk semuanya yang hadir. Saya mau juga mengucapkan terima kasih untuk Ibu Tika yang ketuanya di India News Desk yang sangat kerja keras untuk membawa semua topik-topik untuk series ini. Thank you. Ya.
Terima kasih semuanya.
Baik, terima kasih Pak Sachin, terima kasih Bu
Terima
Dian.
kasih Mbak Tika, Pak Saces, Mas Dava, Pak Velloor.
Terima kasih kepada seluruh
Terima
peserta yang telah
kasih.
hadir.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Boleh live
wabarakatuh.
ya Mas ya? Udah
Boleh
boleh live.
diperbolehkan, Bu.
Oke, makasih.
Baik, kasih Bu. Kasih kepada
Yuk.
peserta.